In this world, there is nothing certain save death and taxes. You've probably heard that quote attributed to Benjamin Franklin or Mark Twain or any other number of people, but it's at least half true. We're not going to get into taxes today. That's another episode. That's Matt behind the camera. Agent Scully's somewhere in the background. I'm Ben. Most importantly, you're here. Thanks for coming. This is stuff they don't want you to know. Death, the great arbiter, the final casting call, the audition that everybody passes, the interview that everybody nails. There is not a single proven case of someone who lives forever in a way that we would understand, not counting Henrietta Lacks and her cancer cells. However, there are proven cases of people who came back from the dead. That's what we're looking at this week. We're looking at what happens when you die. What does it mean to have certain degrees of death, you know, like in The Princess Bride where they say, oh, he's only mostly dead, right? Does that actually happen? And most importantly, how do people come back? What do they see or what do they think they see, and is it real? Here are 3 examples of people who died and returned. Number 1, Velma Thomas, a resident of a town called Nitro in West Virginia. She suffered cardiac arrest at her house. The medics attempted to revive her for about 8 minutes worth of CPR. They got her heart going again, but it stopped twice once they got to the hospital, and the doctors there spent more than 17 hours working on her where there was no brain activity. They even tried a new technique at the time where they lowered her body temperature, simulating hypothermia. And it worked. Velma Thomas came back from the dead. Before we get to 2, we should stop here and note that there are different degrees of dead. There's legally dead, which is sort of a Kafka-esque ridiculous thing if you think about it, and then there's clinically dead, and that's what we're talking about when people come back. We're talking about people whose circulatory system has stopped, their brain has stopped, they're an empty house. 2, Anna Bagenholm. She was a Swedish radiologist, or I should say is a Swedish radiologist, because she does come back, spoiler alert. She was on a ski trip with her friends in Norway when she slipped down a slope. Her head and her torso hit a frozen stream. Meltwater got into her clothes. She was submerged with just her feet sticking out for about 80 minutes before she was rescued under the ice. And the doctors there recorded the lowest body temperature they had seen at the time, 13.7 degrees Celsius. By all reports, it appears that she had drowned. However, after intensive care and 10 days of slowly warming her body and bringing her back, it turns out that she recovered. She returned to the land of the living after, an estimated hour or more of being completely clinically dead. Of course, nobody can come back from such a big thing perfectly, right? There are catches, there are terms and conditions, and I don't mean that in a Pet Cemetery beginning of a horror movie way. What I mean is that Anna experienced lasting nerve damage as a result of this incident. 3, Vanessa Tenasio, resident of Australia, also experiences a heart attack. She's dead. She's rushed to the hospital. They use a machine called Lucas 2 to stimulate her heart beating, even though her brain is clinically dead. And more importantly, this is not the only patient that doctors have saved using this technique. And your chances of surviving or coming back from brain death due to cardiac arrest are much higher with technology like this. Now, notice that these 3 cases are just scratching the surface, and they all have a couple of things in common. We see stuff like lower body temperature, we see stuff like cardiac arrest. These are some of the main things. You probably heard stories of people trapped in the snow entering a kind of hibernation state and surviving that way. There's also the story of a baby, or more than one baby, left out in the cold that managed to also enter a hibernation state where they seem to be dead. They seem to be in a state of torpor, but it's just like someone hit the pause button for a while. And this brings us to the other question. What do you see when you die? Are those reports of a bright light and figures from your past just your brain's last attempt at anesthesia before everything shuts down? Or is there something else? Does the consciousness continue without the brain matter the same way that a radio wave goes through space without an antenna? That's what we're checking out this week in our audio podcast. In the meantime, we'd love to hear from you. Do you have any near-death experiences? Have you ever gone to the brink and come back? Let us know in the comments. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter, where we are Conspiracy Stuff, and you can email us directly. We are conspiracy@howstuffworks.com. Oh, don't forget to stay tuned for our weekly live show on Periscope. You can find that via Twitter. It's weird. It's a weird thing. You know, we had like handmade credits, and for anyone who watched last week, I'm sorry I wrote it in mirror script, guys. When I was looking at it, it looked like I had to write it that way, and I apologize to anyone who got as much of a headache reading it as I did writing it. This time though, well, if we have credits, they will be readable, I promise.